If you think of some of the greatest pure athletes in the sport of professional wrestling, number one on that list just might be Kurt Angle. A real Olympic hero and gold medalist, Kurt Angle took to pro wrestling faster than anyone in the history of the WWF. He had a phenomenal run in the WWF from 1999 to 2006. However, in the summer of 2006, he decided enough was enough and he was leaving the WWE. What went wrong and why did Angle leave the WWE for TNA Wrestling? When Kurt Angle came into the World Wrestling Federation, he was put over as a real athlete who could get it done in the ring. He was supposed to be a babyface American hero. However, the crowd didn't take to him. They booed him. At this point, he could either flounder because this wasn't working, or he could adapt. He took to it instantly and was one of the top bad guys in the company. His charisma and the ability to embrace the hate made him a superstar.
You do not boo Olympic Gold Medalist. I'm the best in the world. I came here for you. You do not boo me.
Now, you know what? I sort of like that. You got to respect that, JR.
First off, Kurt Angle is one of the best pure wrestlers in the game. His intensity was unmatched. When he went to the ring, you knew that you were in store for something great. He made everything he did believable, and he found success shortly. He became so successful that he won almost every title the WWE had to offer, from King of the Ring to WWE Champion. He had some of the most fantastic matches of all time that are still unrivaled to this day. Wrestling ability is one thing, but he also had one of the best characters in professional wrestling at the time. He was serious and backed it up in the ring when the time called for it, but he could be a comedy character too. He is probably one of the funniest characters in all of the WWE. He wasn't afraid to make a fool of himself. All of this combined makes him one of the best of all time. He had the character and the ability that was unmatched by anybody. In the summer of 2006, WWE had taken a toll on his body. He was a mess. After breaking his neck on several occasions and becoming addicted to prescription drugs in a bid to continue wrestling, Angle was spiraling out of control. He'd also developed a drinking habit during this time. And what's sad, drinking and prescription drugs was all too common during this era of professional wrestling. Kurt Angle has a lot to say about why he left the WWE in an interview with Chris Van Vliet. He says, "Vince and I were really close. It was the last year and a half during my first run in the WWE that I got out of control. I was doing a lot of painkillers. I was getting injured quite a bit. I was wrestling full time. It was really getting to me. I was taking up to 65 extra strength Vicodin a day. I was a wreck. Vince didn't know this. Back then, they didn't have that drug policy. So up until 2005, 2006, they started drug testing. Before that, you could really do whatever you want. I was really screwed up physically, mentally, psychologically, and I had to leave. When I did leave, Vince and I never spoke again until I came back. The first time we saw each other, we hugged it out. I apologized to him for the things I did and said, and he said, don't worry about it. So we're back to normal. Vince really has been a father figure to me. I never wanted to hurt him intentionally. I decided I wanted to quit, and my manager and I, we went to WWE headquarters," Angle began. "What happened was I injured myself really badly. My hamstring and my groin, there was blood all across my genitals. The blood was running down both of my legs on the inside like a bruise. I showed it to Vince when we had our meeting, and I said we need to talk because I'm not doing very well. It was at this point that Vince McMahon had some ammunition behind him, and he'd been waiting for the right time to use it. So he pulls out 5 tight pages of text message and phone call messages I sent him. And I'm reading them. It says, 'Vince, I'm going to beat the shit out of you when I see you. Vince, you better answer my call or I'm going to kick your ass.' Really, really crazy stuff I don't remember sending. Unfortunately, at those times, I was taking painkillers, and every once in a while, I would black out. So he showed me all of these messages, and I'm like, oh my God. I actually said this stuff? He stood up, took his jacket off, and said, "You really want to kick my ass? Let's go." It's like, oh my God, I can't believe Vince McMahon wants to beat my ass. This guy's been a father figure for 7 years. I have too much respect for him to stand up and wanted to go. I left the room, came back, and I just broke down. I told him, I can't do this anymore. I need you to release me, and he did. Angle was smart to decline this. Even if he did beat up Vince McMahon, who really wins? In any case, before he could depart the company, Vince wanted to send him to rehab, fully paid, and tackle his demons. Angle ended up rejecting this offer, though since reflected that maybe he should have went to rehab. Yes, he wanted me to go to rehab, Angle stated. He said, "I want you to go for a couple of months and then come back in 6 months and we'll start your contract back up." I said no. I decided I was going to leave and go to TNA Wrestling. This was a bold move from Kurt Angle to leave the WWE. As you know, WWE was the top pro wrestling company in the world. And at this time, Kurt Angle was a complete mess and he really needed to get himself straight. Sending weird text messages to your boss, blacking out, and not remembering you did this is a terrible sign that you need desperate help. Most people who need help actually don't think they need it. However, Kurt decided not to go to rehab and he left the WWE. There was no doubt that Kurt Angle was one of the best in WWE at the time. It was time for him to get away. If he didn't, things might have ended up different for him. Kurt Angle didn't want to go to rehab for his addictions, and ultimately, he decided that TNA Wrestling was the spot for him to go instead. Now I know TNA and rehab aren't the same, but the lighter wrestling schedule and the less days on the grueling road gave Kurt Angle a little bit of rest that he needed. He ended up going to TNA and staying even longer than his first time in the WWE. While in TNA, he had some dream matches and won every major championship that TNA had to offer. Even Kurt Angle himself says that his run in TNA was better than his first run in the WWE. Since that time in TNA Wrestling, Kurt Angle did return to the WWE to be the general manager of Raw. He even had a few matches, but has since left the company. It makes you wonder, what would have happened if Kurt Angle would have stayed with the WWE? Would his life have ended early like many of those who abuse painkillers and alcohol?